82nd Airborne as we come inside the Ripset's Physical Fitness Center. On a very warm and humid afternoon, both outside and Cuba 5 and the USA 4 with 3 bouts remaining.
And Charlie, if form holds up, Oscar De La Hoya has not lost in 4 years. This very well could be a tie match in a few minutes.
Julio Gonzalez against Oscar De La Hoya of the United States, 132 pounds, the tail of the tape.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give an 18 Airborne.
Things that jump out at you here, Charlie. De La Hoya only 18 years of age, but 5 feet 11 inches tall for a 132-pounder. A big advantage if he can use it.
In the red corner, from Cuba, Julio Gonzalez.
At times, I said, do you remember the last time you lost? Who it was? Julio Gonzalez. And he has a record of 268-20. I'm Charlie Jones, along with Wally Matthews. I'm substituting for Bob Trumpy, who normally would be here. His son, Jason, graduating from Blue Ridge Boys School this afternoon, St. George, Virginia. And Bob Trumpy is the commencement speaker.
Effective left hook. De La Hoya trains with professionals and fights like a professional, which does not always work that well in amateur boxing because of the scoring methods, but you notice that when he lands, there's a big effect.
De La Hoya, Garfield High School, that's East Los Angeles. Looks forward to a career as a professional boxer. Also wants to be an architect and to design homes.
And he's quite a young man to come from that kind of an environment where some of the most ferocious gangs in L.A. roam the streets.
And he credits his father as a shipping and receiving clerk for an air conditioning company with keeping him away from all of the other things that could happen.
In the meantime, he's having a really rough time penetrating the long reach, although the undetermined reach, of Julio Gonzalez.
Gonzalez at 5'7", he's 25 years old. He won the World Championship in '89. He won the World Cup in '87 and the Pan Am gold medal in '87.
Julio Gonzalez looks taller than 5'7" to me. Maybe that's part of the strategy, too, to tell us he's 5'7" when he's really 6'2". Right now, De La Hoya stalking Gonzalez and not really being effective with the exception of that left hook he landed early.
De La Hoya, the U.S. champion this year and the champion last year at 125 pounds. Gold medalist in the Goodwill Games at 125.
But for all De La Hoya's credentials, we have to remember he is an 18-year-old fighting a 25-year-old man, and that can make a difference. There's a redness alongside the left eye of De La Hoya. I don't think it's a cut, but there's certainly a scrape on the inside of his headgear.
And we come to the end of round one.
And things started off with a bang for Oscar De La Hoya. This big left hook staggered Julio Gonzalez momentarily, but the rest of the round belonged to the reach and boxing ability of the Cuban.
And we're in round two. For De La Hoya, he says this is the first time for him to fight the Cubans, but it's no big deal because in East Los Angeles he fights Cubans all the time.
I bet not too many of them can fight like Gonzalez.
That's right.
And now you notice that De La Hoya is starting to work the body a bit. This is more of his fight. He has to realize that he's got to slow Gonzalez down a bit. And Gonzalez is the archetype of the Cuban boxer in my mind, Charlie. Tall, lanky, apparently lightly built for the weight, which allows him to move in and out easily. And I'll tell you what, they grow into the bigger weight classes very gracefully.
And the most famous of Cuban boxers ever is right here, and he's at ringside. Teofilo Stevenson, of course, with the 3 gold medals. Talked to him yesterday, and I asked him about, he's 39. I said, you know what, you can still turn professional in the United States as a heavyweight. He said it would take 2 years. I'd have to fight 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, 10 rounds. He kind of smiled and shook his head like, no, he wasn't interested. And I said, probably make $25 million. And the smile